Okay, I think this is recording. Hi, my name is Sean Bouchard. You might know me from some of the streams that I've done with Sean Plott, like mostly walking or metadating. This is my first time doing solo videos, and I'm not streaming this because I'm nervous about streaming. But I'll figure that out eventually. I'm just gonna post this to YouTube. I'm just testing this out tonight, so I'm probably just gonna play for like a half an hour or something and make sure everything works. But I kind of want to post or stream or sort of do some like public play of my 4 in February games. So as some of you might have heard, there's this 4 in February movement to pick 4 backlog games that you sort of have meant to play, that have been on your list for a while, that you never finished, and to play them in February. And so I picked 4 games, and the first one that I'm doing is Papo Yo, which this is a game that I started playing on the PlayStation 3, and I got probably like halfway through. I played like I don't know, an hour and a half to 2 hours, something like that. But I played on a controller, so I've never played on a keyboard. This is gonna be kind of new. All right, I'm gonna start a new game. Bear with me, I have never done this before. To my mother, brothers, and sisters with whom I survived the monster in my father. I'm super excited about this game. I love the idea of taking sort of such a powerful personal story and transforming it, through metaphor and through gameplay, to try to tell it, to try to express something. Already we can kind of see, this is a different kind of game than most games. This opening sequence takes off in a very small space, like a personal space. I mean, literally a closet, literally a space that is that's personal. That's like where you put your clothing, and it just has kind of more of it's very intense, that opening, but it's intense in kind of a low stakes way, as opposed to a lot of games try to create drama with a sense of the world is ending. Big stakes, and this is a game that is obviously much more personal than that. All right, so I'm chasing this little girl character, and the artwork, and the way that the art is sort of used in the game is so beautiful. I mean, look at that. Look at the curve. Good God. That's just gorgeous. And from what I remember of the first hour or so of this game, it's full of that kind of, sort of this aesthetic of the 2D graffiti. That's sort of throughout the city, being extruded into 3D space and being used in really original, sort of unexpected ways. So I remember a few of these puzzles that were really cool, but I do not remember all of the puzzles, and I don't remember all of the features. So this is a hint box. Oh, good God, the fact that I'm actually in the box and I can see it turning around is wonderful. Okay, so tutorial boxes. And there's this sense of like, I feel very this like, to get a hint, I'm going inside of this little protected space. I don't know. Clearly this game is a lot about that. It's about sort of survival tactics. So for those of you who don't know, I came into this game with a little bit of foreknowledge. This is a game about a child's relationship with his alcoholic father. And that sort of opening quote about the monster in our father is a reference to the abuse that a family can sustain from a person, especially often a parent or a father, with substance abuse problems. So I think this path is what opened up. This game is a lot of level design, and so far it's been really good. Like it's very instinctual. It's very like, it's second nature to me to sort of guess where I'm going next, and that turns out to be right. Which is not always an easy thing to do when you're designing a level, especially a level that's as complex as this. Now, I do have to say I'm super disappointed that I can't interact with this soccer ball. I want it to, even if it's not meaningful, I want to be able to keep it. Okay, so this is a mechanic that I've learned pretty well now, which is nice. God, and even just like, look at how sparkly white that is. Look at how that stands out compared to the color palette of the rest of the world. That bright white that looks completely otherworldly. That's pretty awesome. I like the sound design too of walking over different materials. The tiles and the roof, like the tin roof, sounds different than the tiles. It all sounds really good. All right, so I feel like I could go that way. I feel like there's a ladder this way, but that's no. I think I'm supposed to go up the ladder. I'm just looking around corners. I'm gonna go up this ladder and across these roofs. Oh, I'm glad there was a gap there. Okay, and this, I think this is a new area. It's not, so a lot of this world, because of how it's sort of cobbled together, it's not always obvious when you're in a new area, when the area that you're in is a place that you've already been. Except, of course, I can see the girl. I thought I was just going to hand the camera over to her. There she is. I can see the girl sitting up there, and so I know that this is a new place. This is the place where I'm supposed to go. The level design is like really nice, and that camera move to just sort of show me the environment. I can't tell if that's showing me this cave is where I'm supposed to go. Generally, when you get a camera move like that, that's what it means. But I'm not 100% sure of how I'm actually going to get there. Can I interact with the frog? I can. I can pick up the frog. I'm pretty sure that will be important later. Now, that's not important yet, that I can tell. Maybe it is. But it's nice that they introduced the frogs as like an element of the world, even though I don't need to interact with them yet. And it's nice that by doing that, I learned that I can pick up frogs, but I can't jump when I have a frog in my hands, because I tried to jump. Oh yeah, there's that cave. It's just right here. I'm just gonna go here. So I can't jump when I'm holding something. I couldn't jump when I had the box either. So I'm learning some things about how the physics of the world work, that's like a super important thing as a game designer, to sort of implicitly teach your players. I mean, obviously, the world of a game is different than the real world, and there are things that I can do in a game that I can't do in the real world, and that's often what we think about when we think about mechanics. But there are also things that I can't do in the game that I could do in the real world. So, for example, in the real world, I could get down on my hands and knees and I could lean over this edge, and I could look around in a different way than I can with this sort of 3D or third-person roving camera. And if I picked up a frog, I could probably at least try to jump. But in this game, that's an impossibility. That's sort of physically not even possible. And so for me to understand that, for me to understand the limitations of the world is really important. Now, I like this kind of level design where you'll notice this is obviously the same place that I was just a minute ago with the frogs jumping around. And so the way that I've made progress in the game is not necessarily by going to a new place. It's by altering the environment of the place where I was so that new things are accessible. And one of the benefits of that is that you can do tighter level design. You can sort of create a space that's more compact, that has more stuff in it that you reuse more than if every minute of the game is a new area, which can be good in terms of saving art assets and that kind of thing. But it also makes the experience feel more sort of cohesive and tied together and complex. The other advantage of it is if I ever lose my way and backtrack, or for example in a platforming game like this, if I'm on one of those roofs and I fall off into an area where I was previously, in a game that was strictly progress based, I'd be stuck. Like I'd have to go through part of the game a second time, which is frustrating, which is not fun. But with this system, once I've sort of unlocked a progress, like a mechanic for moving forward, I can go back to an area where I was before, and not lose that progress. I can still go forward. In fact, that's sometimes how you make progress, is by going to previous spaces. I just want to point out this mural. Okay. So this is extremely deliberately placed. I don't know what the deal is with this water, except that it's introducing that water is an element, and that looks really nice. I don't know how they're doing those ripples. I don't know if that's just a shader. It looks really, really good. That is really nice water. Okay, so as I turn around this corner, I get full face this giant bluebird. This is unlike anything that I've seen before. It's graffiti, but it's in a completely different color palette than the graffiti that I can interact with, so I know it's not an interactable element. In fact, if I go up, nothing happens. But, so I don't know if it has a purpose, and I'm actually struggling even from a thematic or story standpoint to figure out why specifically it's there, but it's a beautiful sort of picture, and it's a beautiful thing for me to see coming around this corner, and there's really sort of no way for me to not see it. It's the kind of thing that you can do as a level designer, that you can sort of create an image or an impression that the player has to see, even though you don't sort of take camera control away from them. You still sort of are pretty much guaranteed that they're going to see this thing that you want them to see. So she's standing over on the other side waiting for me. I can't go through this hole that she went through. which is interestingly like dark black in a way that almost that is more a part of the palette, but it still stands out quite a bit from the normal palette of the game, in the way that the white does, but obviously in a very different way. Okay, this is one of my favorite parts that I remember. This effect is just so cool. So I like that, like, I can see what's going on, and it's also sort of laid out for me what I'm supposed to do. Look at these houses. This is so neat. Alright, I'm gonna line these up and I'm gonna form a bridge. Because I'm pretty sure that's what I'm supposed to be doing. And I can't, if I put it down, yeah, it just sort of floats in the air. That is such a cool effect. And from a like game engine standpoint, that's so easy to accomplish. Like from a game math standpoint, creating that kind of synchronicity between elements is really straightforward. Like that's something that's built into the tools that a game designer has. But I've never seen it used in quite that standpoint. Oh god, this is from a puzzle standpoint, from a like physics puzzle solving environment puzzle standpoint, I think that's my favorite puzzle that I've seen in this game. Certainly so far in the game, but even the half hour or hour beyond this that I played before. There's kind of a music box again. There's an interesting sort of recurring theme of these little houses, these modular houses being block-like, being sort of like almost like Legos in how they're put together. That was exciting. How it stopped me. That was kind of almost a jet moment, actually. Okay, I hear the ticking. Ticking means timer. Ticking almost always means timer. I probably should have stayed on that. I have no idea what's going on. So that went over there. Do I need to maybe turn all of these? Look at that animation. That's just such a... There's something really quite beautiful about how these buildings move. They have a life to them, even though they obviously, don't have anthropomorphic expressions. But the way that they're sort of bouncing on those legs feels vibrant, feels so lifelike, like that there's something special to them. Okay, so when I stand here, the gate opens and a clock starts ticking, and I can hear the clock ticking. This line guides my eye to the gate, so I can clearly see the gate is open for a limited amount of time. For a really limited amount of time. Alright, so that suggests to me that I need to have the world set up properly before I hit that thing. And I think that means, oh god, it's pushing me around. That's kind of funny, actually. So before I step on the switch, I need to have the world set up so that I can run straight across the gate. This is what the game is suggesting to me. I like it better when I can stand on top of this while it moves than when it pushes me around. I don't know how I get onto the pink one. I'm gonna save that. Maybe this will... Look at that bounce. I just love that bounce. With the little bended legs. It's wonderful. Alright, this here is the tricky one. I can see how I can walk from thing to thing. And I need one more. Now there's also there's a winding key on top of that building. Right there. But I can't, but it's black. It suggests that it's not something I can interact with. Or maybe I need to do something before I can interact with it. How do I get this pink house? The only one of these, so if I could stand on top of this house while it was moving, it would take me over there. But I need to be on the ground to actually use it. This is only going to take me over here. Now, is there a way if I get over... If I get over there, can I platform around the edge? I don't see a path. I don't see an obvious way to do this. So this is the first time in the game that I've... Oh, I take it back. There's stuff over there. Okay. So this was the first time in the game that I got kind of stuck, which I'm sure will happen again, because I'm not great at this kind of thing. And it took me a while to sort of look around that corner and see that there was something for me to do. So yeah, okay. So what does that teach me? That teaches me that I need to fully explore the environment that I'm in. Like, the solution to the puzzle won't always be immediately visible. So I'm gonna have to really, like, crane my neck and take advantage of this third-person camera that allows me to look around corners and look, into places that the character couldn't literally see. I mean, when I was sort of standing over here, from here you can't see. Well, I guess it's not there anymore. It's by virtue of this camera vantage point that I could really see that graffiti popping on the wall back there, and I knew there was something that I was supposed to do. Okay. All right, let's see if I can solve this puzzle now. I feel like I'm at the end of it. Do this thing. Do this thing. This one will carry me. Bounce, 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 bounce. Wonderful. Wonderful. Delightful. Okay, I think I got this. I think I can just go up here, step on the thing, jump, 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 and now I got plenty of time. That time is so slow. I still don't know what to do about that black key. I wonder if the little girl used that and just wasn't paying attention. So, it's interesting that I'm following this little girl character. I don't know who she is. At the beginning of the game, the quote that sort of contextualizes and personalizes the story mentioned family, mentioned, I think, brothers and sisters. I wonder if she is a sister. Okay, now, interesting. Okay, so... So what happened here is I literally walked in, and I could see there was a white thing. There was a graffiti thing that I could interact with, and immediately I interacted with it. And I had no intention beyond that. I didn't know what interacting with it would do, and I didn't have a plan for like, you know, once I do this, it's gonna open up a space that I can look at. But it did. So I'm learning kind of to trust the game. That you know, the game presents me with cues, literally visual cues of this is a thing that you can do, and if it presents me with a thing that I can do, then I should do it. And in the previous puzzle, the sort of with all of the boxes, you know, it was possible for me to do something and have that not be the right time, to have there actually be like, you know, I had to move those boxes a couple times before, or the houses, I had to move a couple times before I could actually form that bridge. But it's suggesting to me that I'm never gonna be wrong, that interacting with the world is never gonna cause me to fail or put me in a bad position. And frequently, it seems it will reveal things in the world that I wouldn't have seen otherwise. See, this is that effect that I love again. And interestingly, this is much more freeform than it was. So, I don't know what I'm trying to do. Am I trying to move this? Oh, I can see, so there's some white graffiti on the wall over there. Down here and see if I can get over to that. So, in the previous iteration of that puzzle, it gave me very specifically box outlines on the ground of where I should put all of those boxes. And this time it doesn't give me that. It's sort of asking me to figure out exactly where it's supposed to go. If I pull too hard on this, it actually the fact that there are objects on there that fall off as it moves gives such a sense of life. It just makes this environment not feel sterile. It doesn't feel like, you know, somebody's been through here already and tested all of these puzzles. It feels like, you know, I'm doing something novel. I'm doing something new, which and potentially destructive, which is scary and exciting, sort of all at once. Now, if this was Prince of Persia, I would try to jump over there, but it's not Prince of Persia, so I think I'm supposed to go this way. Again, there are these little choices, decisions that aren't perfectly clear in the level design, where I reach a point where it's not obvious that I'm supposed to go right instead of left or straight ahead. But it's pretty intuitive. I mean, the two, I think twice I've sort of been at that point where it's ambiguous, and I've been able to reason through very quickly or just intuitively see which direction seems to be the best direction. I can't get to that little girl. What an interesting sort of moment that was. I was so close to her for the first time, but I couldn't actually reach her. And now this is terrifying. Okay, so I'm following this line. I don't think I have to, but I'm going to, because it's clearly indicating that I should. And I'm moving in slow motion, and the rain in the environment is completely still in a terrifying way. I'm going to get hit by this car. No, maybe I'm not going to get hit by the car, but it's... Actually, the way that faded into the headlights, the way that the camera sort of used the headlights as part of the transition was beautiful. That was a really neat effect. She does not like me. So, the little girl who seemed like maybe she was going to be a friend is not a friend, but I did make a little robot friend. So that makes me happy. And I think that after that sort of little cutscene, interactive cutscene, and making a robot friend, that's where I'm going to stop tonight. Like I said, this is just a test stream or a test video that I'm going to put up on YouTube to see if I can get the whole thing to work. And if this works, then in the future I will make some more videos. I'll finish this game and finish some other games this month. And I'll stream them on Twitch if that's interesting to anybody. I just got to figure that out too. So thank you very much. I'll see you again next time. I'm Sean Bouchard. Thanks for watching.